Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the 10th episode of the Urdu Seekhiye podcast. I'm your host, Shireen. Today, I'm going to switch things up a little bit. Instead of having our regular dialogue, I'm going to translate a commercial. One of our listeners shared a funny commercial with us, and the way that the man in the commercial speaks is slow and clear enough that I thought it would be a great opportunity to teach using it. As with all the episodes, this is not meant to be listened to just once. Because this is a language podcast, repetition is crucial. So give yourself the time to learn Urdu properly. Before I begin, I'd like to ask you to pause this episode and watch the YouTube video linked in the description. That's the link to the video for this commercial. This episode will be much more enjoyable if you watch the video first. So go ahead and pause this, watch the video, and then I'll see you when you come back. Welcome back. Because this commercial is a bit long, I'll divide this episode into 2 parts. And I've split the entire commercial into 22 lines. So part 1 will cover the first 11 lines, and then we'll take a look at the next 11 in part 2. Before I dive deeply into the translation and grammar, I'll go over the first 11 lines and present you with the translation. तुम यहाँ नए आए हो. तुम यहाँ नए आए हो. Are you new here?
मेरी चाय इस तरह नहीं आएगी. मेरी चाय इस तरह नहीं आएगी.
My tea will not arrive like this. ये चम्मच सीधे हाथ पर. ये चम्मच सीधे हाथ पर. This spoon on the right hand side. उल्टा करके रखेंगे. उल्टा करके रखेंगे. Will be placed, turned upside down. समझ गए. समझ गए. Got it? और ये कप का हैंडल भी. और ये कप का हैंडल भी. And this cup's handle too. इधर उधर होने के बजाय. इधर उधर होने के बजाय. Instead of being here or there. सीधी तरफ ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में. सीधी तरफ ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में. Towards the front, exactly in the center of the spoon. ऐसे रखा जाएगा. ऐसे रखा जाएगा. Will be placed like this. और ये बिस्किट भी. और ये बिस्किट भी. And this biscuit too. ऐसे नहीं रखे जाएंगे. ऐसे नहीं रखे जाएंगे. Will not be placed like this. You can see that this man is not using the formal aap that we use most often here on Urdu Seekhiye. Instead, he uses tum. There is a clear social class difference between the two men. So it's expected that the server would be addressed with tum, or even tu. I wouldn't be able to address this man using tum, regardless of what social class he comes from, mainly because he's older. So he starts his monologue with tum yahan naye aaye ho. This means, are you new here? So the next line is,
मेरी चाय इस तरह नहीं आएगी.
that means, my tea will not arrive like this. He's unhappy with the presentation, with the way things are placed on the tray, so he goes on a long monologue about how he wants his tea presented to him. Speaking of tea, it reminds me of a conversation I had with a coworker of mine about how she likes to order chai tea at Starbucks. I let her know that it wasn't necessary to call it chai tea, since chai means tea. You're basically saying tea. So the next time you're wanting chai, all you gotta ask for is chai. Now you know. Anywho, returning back to the commercial. So this man speaks in the future tense. One indication of the future tense is the ending of the verbs. Notice how they have the gi, ga, or ge in their conjugation. I'll point them out as I see them. He starts with how he wants his spoon placed. He says, ye chammach सीधे हाथ पर. So, ye chammach सीधे हाथ पर means this spoon on the right hand side. The rest of that sentence is उल्टा करके रखेंगे. So there it is, the use of ge. उल्टा करके रखेंगे. That means place it upside down. This enge ending is used with the pronoun hum. Hum is the personal pronoun we. I've included all the personal pronouns in the handout so you can see them all there. The entire sentence is ये चम्मच सीधे हाथ पर उल्टा करके रखेंगे. The translation then can be, we will place this spoon upside down on the right-hand side. His style of talking is one you might use with a child. So I might say to a child, next time, we pick up our toys and place them in the box. So that's why we keep hearing him use the enge ending, which could mean we will. And notice that while in English we put the position first, upside down, and then the direction, right hand side, in Urdu it's flipped. The direction, सीधे हाथ, will go first, and then the position, उल्टा. सीधे हाथ पर उल्टा करके. One more thing about this sentence. If you recall, the verb karna means to do. There are various words that are turned into verbs with the help of the verb karna. For example, in one of the previous episodes, we had the question, क्या मैं इस्तेमाल कर सकती हूँ? क्या मैं इस्तेमाल कर सकती हूँ? This means, can I use it? To turn istemal, which means use, into a verb, I had to take the root of the verb karna. So it became istemal kar. Similarly, here I have ulta kar. So ulta karna means to turn it upside down. So he's saying, ulta karke rakhenge, meaning we will put it turned upside down. Okay, so let's move to the next line. It's a question. Samajh gaye? This means, do you understand? Or more appropriately, got it? I feel like samajh gaye is such a rude question in Urdu. But then I think about it in English, and it could be interpreted as rude in English too. It depends on how you ask it, I guess. You definitely wouldn't ask it like this man, in a condescending tone. But still, I think it's harsher in Urdu than it is in English. One way to ask, got it? In a way that's not so harsh is to turn it into a complete sentence, or question rather, and change your tone. For example, you could ask, Samajh mein aaya? Samajh mein aaya? And samajh mein aaya means the exact same thing. Do you understand? So let's keep moving. The beginning of the next line is, और ये कप का हैंडल भी इधर उधर होने के बजाय. Let's start with the last few words and work backwards. So, ke bajai together means instead of. और ये कप का हैंडल भी इधर उधर होने के बजाय means, and instead of the cup's handle being here and there, and if you remember, ka is used to express possession. If I want to say wajiha's water, then I would say wajiha ka pani. And if I say aapka pani, what does that mean? If you've heard all the prior episodes, I'm hoping you will get this right. So aapka pani means your water. And our line is cup ka handle. What does that mean? It means the handle of the cup, or the cup's handle. Let's go ahead and finish off the remainder of that line. The complete line is, और ये कप का हैंडल भी इधर उधर होने के बजाय सीधी तरफ ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में ऐसे रखा जाएगा. So that's a really long one. Let's try to break that up. So we already know he's saying, instead of the cup's handle being here and there, सीधी तरफ ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में ऐसे रखा जाएगा. I have to admit, I initially thought he was saying, and चम्मच के दरमियान में रखा जाएगा. Then Wajiha heard it and let me know that it was ain. And ain means exactly or precisely. I was also thrown off by the phrase सीधी तरफ, because previously we had said सीधे हाथ means right-hand side. So I thought सीधी तरफ would mean to the right. But did you notice what he does with the cup's handle? He turns it towards himself. I had to replay the video twice to really get it. So सीधे हाथ does mean right-hand side or right side, but सीधी तरफ means straight ahead. That's why you see him first turn the handle towards himself, but then he goes on to say, ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में, which means exactly in between the spoon, or in the center of the spoon. What he means is he wants the handle facing exactly in the center of the spoon. He's being particular and ridiculous, which is what makes this commercial so funny. So the final words of that line are ऐसे रखा जाएगा. It will be placed like this. ऐसे means like this. Rakha is the conjugation of the verb rakhna, which means to put or to place. Jaiga indicates the future tense, as I mentioned earlier. So the entire line is, और ये कप का हैंडल भी इधर उधर होने के बजाय सीधी तरफ ऐन चम्मच के दरमियान में ऐसे रखा जाएगा. So this means, instead of the cup's handle being here and there, it will be placed in the front right in the center of the spoon. And this is where we end part 1 of our 2-part episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now that we have our very own website, be sure to visit it and leave your comments there. Let us know if you want more episodes like this, or if you want to have more dialogues on how you can say certain phrases. Our website is urduseekhiye.com. That's urduseekhiye.com. I hope to see you in part 2 of this episode. फिर मिलेंगे. खुदा हाफिज.